Republican Senator John Kennedy, a member of the Judiciary Committee. Senator Kennedy, good to see you this evening. So what was your take when you started to read this story in the New York Times, John Bolton drawing a link between the military aid to Ukraine and a promise for investigations of Biden and also Democrats?
We saw this approach during the Kavanaugh hearings. Every day there was a brand new allegation against now Justice Kavanaugh. In the last few days, we've seen new allegations against the president by Lev Parnas and now by Mr. John Bolton. My feeling about it is that the allegations would have more credibility if they were coming from someone else. Mr. Parnas's bias and, frankly, Mr. Bolton's bias are pretty obvious and have been discussed a lot. But let me answer your question head on, Martha. Do I believe them? I don't know. Are they telling the truth? I don't know. But if I'm honest, I wouldn't bet my house on it. And if I were betting your house on it, it would only be a maybe. Now, we're going to make a decision by the end of the week. It was the Republicans who voted to make a decision by the end of the week on more witnesses. The Democrats didn't go along with us, but we're only halfway through this saga.
So, I mean, I understand what you're saying about Lev Parnas and, the people who sort of came to the fore at the end of the Kavanaugh case. But John Bolton is someone who has been, a respected member of the conservative world for many years. He has a very deep background in national security affairs. And, I would assume that you might put him and his opinions on this in a slightly different category, no?
Well, I have great respect for Mr. Bolton. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting him. He's extraordinarily intelligent. But you can't deny the fact that, number one, he's got a book coming out.
That's true.
And number two, he left the White House under unhappy circumstances. Now, does that make Mr. Bolton a bad person? No, and as I say, I respect him, but when you're trying to assess someone's credibility, particularly when you're talking about removing a president of the United States, you have to consider those things.
So,
go
ahead.
Can I say this today?
Please.
The president's lawyers had a good day today. Now, the House managers, they finished their presentation. Many members of the media just sucked it up like a Hoover Deluxe. This thing's over with. The president's lawyers today did a very good job, and they did a very good job in proving, I think, that the House allegations are just continue to be grooming a corpse, that the president had every right and reason in the public interest to ask for an investigation of corruption in Ukraine. And the managers pointed out that these are just the facts. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. But President Obama put Vice President Biden in charge of the foreign affairs of two countries, Ukraine and China. And the vice president's son walked away with very lucrative contracts in both.
Yeah. Very interesting layout of all of that by Pam Bondi today, I thought. Before I let you go, take the temperature of your colleagues there in the Senate for us, because the feeling going into the weekend was that this was going to wrap up. But from everything I'm hearing from people on the Hill, there's a pretty good chance that this could go a very long time now if just one more person decides that they want to hear from witnesses. What do you think is going to happen?
If we make the decision to hear from more witnesses and to grant these subpoenas that our Democratic friends are asking for, I think we'll be here through April or May. And I've seen the articles that you might be referencing, Martha, that there's been a change in momentum. I don't sense it.
No.
I don't sense it. I still think that it could change, but based on what I've seen so far, that the vast majority of my colleagues, not my Democratic colleagues, but Republicans, will decide that we've heard enough.
Okay. So you don't feel, if you look at Murkowski and Collins and Romney, perhaps, who've all signaled that they would be interested in hearing from witnesses, you don't think that perhaps Lamar Alexander is one example that has been mentioned, might also decide that he wants to go along with that procedure as well?
Well, sure, it could happen. And I haven't asked those colleagues how they're going to vote, nor would I. But I don't accept the proposition that some around this place have offered today, that they have already made up their minds and they're going to vote for more evidence. They haven't indicated that to me.
Fair enough. Senator Kennedy, thank you.